Hi, this is Pablo from the MB Academy, and in this video I'm gonna be showing you how to create sub-basses like the ones in the track Chicago Outfit by JAM Thieves. Now make sure you're wearing headphones or you have good speakers because this is gonna be a video about sub. So this is the original track and this is my recreation. I'm also gonna be showing you how to create the sound and how to make a lot of variations of it. Now, before we get started, make sure you get subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to not miss any for future videos, and if you want to get access to all of these presets and project files, you can become a member of Preset Pass. The link is in the description below. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Okay, so here I am with an initialize patch. We are playing a low G, and we're gonna begin with the sub. Now for this, I have an EQ because I want to talk about some harmonics. Now, a lot of people think that only loading a sine wave like this and then adding a bit of distortion is enough to create a sub. But in reality, if you want to create a more powerful feel and texture in your sound, you need to come up with a more creative way of creating your subs. Now, the alternative that I want to show you in this video is using the harmonics editor of Serum, clicking on this button to translate the sine wave harmonics into the FFT sequence. Then I'm going to bring this phase all the way down just so the sine wave starts on the positive side. So now let's play this, and as we add harmonics, let's pay attention to the EQ. So we have the fundamental. Then we can add the third harmonic. And then the fifth harmonic. And as you can see, we're kind of getting a square wave shape. Now this is a shape that we would normally get if we were using distortion, for example. But as you can see, we are missing one harmonic here in the middle. So if we were using distortion, we couldn't add that one. We will need to layer a sub wave, but here, since we're doing it with harmonics, we can just add that harmonic by ourselves. And notice how the waveform kind of starts resembling a sub wave, but it's still a sub and it has very good harmonics. So now let's just turn on the sub oscillator, and this is just to boost the fundamental. Now, one thing that we need to do is to turn the random phase all the way down and play with the position of the phase, because as you can see, if it's not aligned, it will cancel the sub oscillator. So if we want a strong fundamental, we need to start it from this position. We can boost it a little bit more. And now if we want a bit of movement, we can add an LFO into a level of both. Change the shape a little bit. And keep playing with this modulation. And now you really have control of how your sub feels, because now you can go back and say, I want more of this harmonic and a little bit less of that high one. Or I want more of this. And just experiment. For now, I'm gonna leave it like this, and now we can play this with the drums. It sounds really good. Now let's compare this to a pure sine wave with distortion. So this will be the sine wave with distortion. As you can see, harmonics are pretty standard and really not that interesting. And now our version is more deep and has a more interesting combination of harmonics. So that is it about subs. Now let's jump into the next sound. Okay, so here I have an initialize patch. And one of the secrets for creating growls is to modulate a simple waveform like a sine wave with a complex wavetable. So we're gonna do exactly that. Let's load a sine wave on oscillator A, and then let's load something like a spectral wavetable on oscillator B, for example, Monster 8. We're playing the same low G. Let's bring the level of oscillator B all the way down because we want to run FM on oscillator A. And now let's map an LFO into the FM knob. Just like that. Now we need to add the rhythm of the track, which is pretty much a triplets fill like this. But we can also turn off the BPM function and just fine tune it ourselves. Let's set it to trigger. And here you can play with your shape, depending on the feel that you want in your sound. Now, if you want different harmonics, you can play with the wavetail position. And you can also map an LFO into the wavetail position. Like this. Now let's filter all of this. And then let's map an LFO into the cutoff of the filter. There you go. Let's add some drive. And now let's go into the effects. We're going to add some distortion. Like this. We can also add some chorus. But if we want this chorus to only affect the high frequencies, we can click on this button and set it to high pass. And play with the mix. Then we can add some multiband compression. And now we can use something like an EQ with some bells to accentuate certain ranges of harmonics that we want in the sound. For example, around 1K, we have that bowly feel. So we can map this into the frequency of that bell. And as you can see, that will add some movement that resembles the one of a growl. You can also set it to a high pass and add that movement. And then use a different bell. And keep shaping your sound this way. You can also use a different filter. For example, you can use reverb filter. To add a certain character into the sound and then mix it in. And now you can use something like reverb, but not in the traditional way. We can use this just as a way to fill the space in the turnaround. For example, automating the mix going up as the phrase ends. Like that. So you can map an LFO into the mix going up like this, set it to trigger. And then play with different parameters. For example, you can cut the lows, you can play with the size, make it really short, or change it as default. And now for post processing, there are cool things you can do to play a bit more with the sound. For example, you can add a phaser and play with the frequency of this phaser. To change the format of the sound. You can also use trash 2 and set it on multiband and only distort the highs. Instead of using OTT, which will mess with your phases, but sometimes that's what you actually want. So let's just try OTT here instead of trash 2. Let's bring the amount down. Let's boost the output And now the time will determine the length of the tail. That sounds good. So now listen to all of this. And now if you want to change the format, you can play with the phaser. You can also go back into Serum, change the FM position, change the wavetable position. And as you can see, you have many possibilities with this sound. And I encourage you to keep exploring the different effects and learning what they do to this sound. And with that, you will be in your way of learning really good sound design for these types of sounds. So that's gonna be it for this sounds and also for this video. If you liked it, make sure you get subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to not miss any of our future videos. Once again, if you want to get access to this preset and the project files, you can become a member of Preset Pass. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.